What's up, everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And we often like to talk about how good of a deal Xbox Game Pass is. I mean, it's just the truth. But did you know that fans for a long time have actually found a way to get Game Pass for even cheaper by using a simple conversion? Well, interestingly enough, Xbox today brought back one of the most popular promos for Game Pass, but with a catch. Still an absolute fantastic deal, but we will get into that today, as well as the Nintendo Switch still breaking records even in its 6th year. This console is absolutely crazy, but we will get into that as well. As always, though, do hit those buttons below if you're enjoying the content, but without a further ado, let's just go and jump right into the video, starting off with Psychonauts. I guess this is the week that we get to talk about Xbox 3D platformers. We talked about Banjo-Kazooie a few days back, and now we get to talk about Psychonauts. Legitimately, though, I mean, these are two of my favorite series of all time, so I would love to see a follow-up for both of these games. But unfortunately, it sounds like we might be waiting a while because Double Fine's Tim Schafer has once again confirmed that Psychonauts 3 is not in development. In an interview with the YouTube channel Cressup, he said, "I'm not working on Psychonauts 3. We're kind of at the Willy Wonka closed doors phase, but soon we could open and cause a lot of harm to a lot of children, just like Willy Wonka." So, I mean, this is really a two-part answer here. While, yes, he denied the rumors for Psychonauts 3, I know, I want that game as well, but it does sound like he's teasing some other announcements that could be incoming soon. Hey, we do have Gamescom around the corner, so maybe something there. I think just based on some of his statements, though, fans probably shouldn't go in expecting Double Fine's next game to be some type of huge AAA release. By all means, it sounds like they're working on various smaller projects, which, hey, I think that that's perfectly fine as well. Psychonauts 2's development was tough for them. This has been well documented. So some smaller games could be a nice change of pace for them. And truthfully, Double Fine is a very creative studio, and regardless if their next game is the size of Psychonauts or Brutal Legends, or if it's going to be a smaller game like Stacking or Broken Age, I mean, they're always a studio that's worth paying attention to because they do have this quirky sense of humor, and they know how to make good, fun games. Next up, though, Exoprimal is set to release next week for multiple platforms, including Xbox Game Pass. You have to love it. But there has been a small change of plans to its crossplay functionality. Capcom has now confirmed that it will support crossplay matchmaking, but party creation will currently be limited to each platform ecosystem. This means that Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Windows can party up. Then you have the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, while Steam is limited to just itself. This is, yes, a little disappointing for a multiplayer-centric game like this. You would hope to party up with every platform freely. That way you and your friends can play the game where you want, rather than everybody having to buy it on a single platform. More so, though, I think because of Xbox Game Pass as well. Maybe you have Xbox Game Pass, so that's where you want to play it. You won't have to buy the game that way. But then if your friend only has PlayStation and they're purchasing it there, well, in that situation, now you kind of have to make a tough decision. The good news here, though, is that Capcom is working on this problem. They noted that this might take some time, but they are looking for ways to allow players to play together with their friends, regardless of platform. Sure, not exactly what you want to hear at this stage, but hopefully Capcom will get this sorted out sooner rather than later. Actually, speaking of Capcom, though, we might as well go and talk about Street Fighter 6, as it's gotten off to a rather fast start. It's already sold 2 million copies worldwide in its first month alone. And to just kind of put that into perspective here, Street Fighter 5 sold 1.4 million copies in over 2 months on the market. So this is a big jump in the right direction for the Street Fighter franchise. Definitely a big increase here. Now, Capcom previously said that they want to sell 10 million copies, and I mean, over its life cycle, this certainly does seem quite achievable with this fast start here. Street Fighter 5, that wound up selling 7.2 million units lifetime, and that was at a much slower pace. Either way, though, I mean, this is incredible for a fighting game. See, something that I keep seeing online is this weird, odd comparison. Some fans, for whatever reason, seem like they're having a hard time understanding why people view Final Fantasy XVI and Street Fighter VI's sales numbers differently. Like, why is Street Fighter 6 viewed as this big success, whereas Final Fantasy 16 is being scrutinized despite it selling even more at an even faster pace? Of course, Final Fantasy 16 is sold 3 million units in one single week, so what gives here? It's selling better than Street Fighter 6, so why is it being scrutinized the way it is? Well, there's really two reasons for this. One is that you have to understand the difference for each genre. Street Fighter 6 is a fighting game, and it will be compared to other fighting games. And then number two, there's also the history for each franchise. There are different expectations for the two, and while Street Fighter 6 broke those expectations, Final Fantasy 16, it just didn't. Street Fighter 6 is selling faster than Street Fighter V, and that's what it's going to be compared to, whereas Final Fantasy 16, it sold 2 million less than Final Fantasy 15 in an even longer period. 15, of course, sold 5 million in a single day, whereas 16 sold 3 million in a week. So that's why people view the two differently. There's just different expectations. Let me put it this way. It's the same reason that something like Shin Megami Tensei 5 selling 1 million units is viewed as great, whereas 1 million units sold for the Callisto Protocol is viewed as underperforming. They just have different expectations. Now, as I said yesterday, though, with Final Fantasy, a lot of this is going to come down to how well it can sell in the long haul. 3 million is still a good start, so let's just be clear about that. But now it just kind of depends on its legs and whether or not it can ultimately catch up with Final Fantasy 15 in the long run. We'll see how all that plays out, but either way, big congrats to Capcom on their success with Street Fighter 6. This is much deserved, and it's really good to see the franchise on the rise here with its fully multi-platform release. Let's go talk about some Xbox Game Pass stuff, though, because they've now officially brought back its popular $1 entry fee that was removed earlier this year, meaning that, once again, new subscribers can simply sign up for a measly $1. You'll then have access to Game Pass for 1 month, and then after that, you'll have the option to continue at its regular monthly rate, which is now $10 for PC Game Pass, $11 for Xbox Game Pass, and then $17 for Game Pass Ultimate. So this is a fantastic deal for new subscribers. What a lot of people like to do is wait for a big game to come out and then use that $1 fee to then take full advantage of its worth. As an example, Starfield is right around the corner. That is a $70 game, but hey, technically, if you want, you can actually play it for just $1 single dollar, so long as you are a new subscriber. There, however, is a new twist to Xbox Game Pass, and this is something that everybody can kind of capitalize on, and that's with its new conversion rate. Now, not everybody knows about this, but there is actually a legitimate secret way to get Game Pass for even cheaper than it already is, and that's by converting Xbox Live Gold to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Now, you used to be able to do this at a 1-to-1 rate. So what that means is that so long as you let your subscription expire, that part is important, but so long as you let it expire, you can then subscribe to Xbox Live Gold. Let's say you subscribe for 3 years, which would cost you about $180, depending on where you purchase your codes. Well, then, after that, you can upgrade to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by subscribing for a single month. And then what happens is that your gold membership would convert to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate at a 1-to-1 conversion rate. So in other words, you could basically get 3 years of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for the cost of 1 single year by upgrading from Xbox Live Gold. Yeah, to put it short, this was an incredible deal that saves you $300+. I mean, in my own personal opinion, Game Pass is already the best deal in gaming as is. But this just takes things to a whole new level. Well, Xbox has now changed this. Fans will no longer be able to take advantage of that 1-to-1 conversion rate, but instead, starting today, they'll now get a 3-to-2 conversion rate. That means that if you buy 3 years of Xbox Live Gold for $180, you can then convert that to 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate, which that would still cost $408. So you're still saving over $200 with this conversion here, which is still an absolutely stellar deal. I mean, yeah, it's been nerfed a little bit, but I mean, this is still pretty OP, all things considered. You're basically paying less than half the price by doing the 3-to-2 gold conversion. There you go, though. I mean, if you didn't already know about this, do keep this in mind as your subscription expires. There's all kinds of tutorials out there that shows you how this works. And actually, I'll just go ahead and drop a link in the description below if you want to know a little bit more about this little trick to save a lot of money. On to some Nintendo news, though. Now, I think that we all knew this, but the Switch has been a bit of a powerhouse pretty much all generation long. I mean, it's already the second best-selling home console of all time, third if we include the Nintendo DS as well. I mean, technically, the Switch is a hybrid console, but it just keeps putting up insane numbers year in and year out, and even in its 6th year. This console's a little bit on the older side now, but even in its 6th year, it's done it once again. According to Nikkei, the Nintendo Switch sold more units in Japan for the month of June than it had in any June prior to this year. Apparently, it sold 380,000 units for the month of June, which is a 68% increase year over year. I guess the Zelda effect is very real here, but I think that does go to answer a big question. There's been a lot of discussion on how Nintendo can continue the momentum in 2023. And some people were a little bit skeptical if Zelda Tears of the Kingdom could actually have a big impact, because surely Zelda fans already own the Nintendo Switch. Breath of the Wild, that's been available since day one. Skyward Sword HD, that's been around for a while as well. There's also Link's Awakening. So how many more people will buy a Nintendo Switch for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? Well, apparently, a lot. Though to be fair, I'm sure some of that comes from people upgrading their Switch to the much better Nintendo Switch OLED. Now, I've talked about this before, but the Switch OLED is a major upgrade if you play primarily in handheld mode. Now, if you play on your TV mostly, then it's not really going to be a big upgrade. But the screen is a massive improvement over the traditional Nintendo Switch, a night and day difference. So, I mean, I'm sure that does play an effect here. A lot of people probably rebought that Switch OLED, but either way, Nintendo obviously has done such a good job this generation. I mean, honestly, I feel like that they really haven't even had a down year at all. They've just been so consistent with their first-party lineup, and really, truth be told, it looks like that'll continue even beyond Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, there was a lot of questions just last month, but now we know we have Pikmin 4. There's still Mario RPG and also Mario Wonder. So, I mean, just big congrats to Nintendo. They deserve every ounce of praise that they get. Sure, I'm excited for the Switch successor as well. I think it's time for an upgrade, but all in all, I think the Switch might go down as their best console ever, and it'll be tough to top it. Just please, Nintendo, whatever you do, make your successor a handheld and give us backwards compatibility. If you do those two things, then we're golden. That's all I'm saying. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. Where I asked you all, how many games do you think you complete in a given year? And as you can see here, 61% of you said 1 to 5 games, 23% of you all said 6 to 10, 8% completes 11 to 15, 3% 16 to 20, and then 5% of you all voted for 21 plus games a year. So, I mean, the vast majority of you do fit in that 1 to 10 game range, which I think is a good number. Games are a time commitment, especially with some of these longer games out there. I mean, as an example, if you primarily play JRPGs, that alone is going to give you a lower number, because in most cases, it seems like they do take like 40 to 50 hours to complete, and really sometimes even longer than that. I can't tell you how many JRPGs are on my backlog that I've played, and I just haven't finished yet because of their length. What I will say, though, for myself is that I do actually keep a log of the games that I complete. I've been doing this for the last couple years. Once I finish a game, I write down the date I completed it on. I give them a quick rating and what console I played them on. So I can actually give you all a concrete number on how many games I've completed over the last couple years. Last year, I completed 31 games, and then this year so far I've only completed 10. Mostly brand new games this year, actually. I mean, it's been a crazy good year for new releases. Now there are a few older games that I've mostly worked through, but I am a little bit busier this year, all in all. Typically, though, I probably play at least 1 hour most days. Sometimes I can go way up to just depending on the day and what we have planned as a family. But I know one thing for sure. That backlog, I know some of you all can kind of relate to this, but I mean, it just never ends. When I complete a game, it feels like 4 or 5 as already released. Anyways, that would mean that's it for this episode. But if you like the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.